The doctors engaged in an island-wide strike today as well. Well, this is not the first time that these doctors engaged in a strike action. But why did the doctors engage in a strike action today? They engaged in a strike against the operation of the private medical college in Malabar. We have a comprehensive report of that story to bring to your attention as to who suffered owing to this strike. It was these innocent patients. Stay tuned with News First. You're watching Primetime News. Very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to Primetime News. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscored. And I'm Bernadine Jai Singh. Very good evening to you. Now let's take a look at headlines.
New Central Bank Governor articulates his vision.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is one of the great institutions in this country. And I'm acutely aware that a primary responsibility, arguably the primary responsibility of the governor is to uphold its reputation and credibility.
Comprehensive report on Auditor General's investigation into bond issuances submitted to Speaker.
Doctors stage 4 strike to protest against private medical college.
Supreme Court rules that drinking water supply must be provided to the people who have been affected by Umaoya project by the end of the year.
Fishermen in Dehivala block coastal railway line demanding renovation of fisheries port.
Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, the new governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, received his letter of appointment from President Maithripala Sirisena this morning.
Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy received his letter of appointment for a 6-year term as the governor of the Central Bank at President's House this morning. President Maithripala Sirisena had decided on Saturday to appoint Dr. Kumaraswamy to the vacant position. Shortly after receiving his letter of appointment, Dr. Kumaraswamy assumed duties at the Central Bank. Speaking to the gathering at the Central Bank.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is one of the great institutions in this country. And I'm acutely aware that a primary responsibility, arguably the primary responsibility of the governor is to uphold its reputation and credibility. And I can assure you that I will do my utmost to do so at all times. When I met the president, he just told me one thing. He said, do your work in a straight way and do not fear anybody in discharging your duties. Now my intention is to follow his direction and to carry out my functions according to his wishes. When I met the Honorable Prime Minister, he laid out his vision for where he wants to take this country. And there is a big role for the Central Bank. And in many ways, if we are not able to fulfill our functions in the way it should be fulfilled, in terms of creating a platform for macroeconomic stability with strong macroeconomic fundamentals, having financial sector stability so there's confidence right through the system. Nothing else is possible. A captain is only as good as his team. However smart or clever the captain is, unless his team has talent and there's teamwork, it's not going to work. Talent alone is not enough. We need to be absolutely together for that talent to bear fruit, to contribute to the development of this country. We need to work as one. We need to have common objectives.
Rajapaksa said today that he has received the comprehensive report of the Auditor General's investigation into central bank bond issuances. Meanwhile, the Auditor General is to testify before the Committee on Public Enterprises or COP when the committee convenes in Parliament tomorrow.
W.A. Vijayawardena, former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, points out that between 2013 and 2015, the CBSL incurred losses to the tune of 89 billion rupees. He notes that as a result, the Central Bank's capital decreased from 182 billion rupees to 54 billion rupees by 2015.
When the Central Bank makes losses, its capital base declines, and if its capital base has now come down to rupees 54 billion, which is the minimum level which the central bank can maintain, and if it falls further, the central bank will become technically bankrupt. When it becomes technically bankrupt, the government will have to give new money to central bank by way of new capital, and the decline in the capital base of the central bank is harmful to the central bank's operation, because it is the central bank which has to go to the international markets and raise foreign funds for the government of Sri Lanka.
Vijayawardena highlighted that these losses include recent controversial bond issuances.
The Auditor General of the Democratic Republic of Sri Lanka has submitted a special report to the Committee on Public Enterprises on this particular aspect, and the report was submitted to COP about a week ago. In this report, the Auditor General has calculated the loss to the government of Sri Lanka as a result of the Treasury bond scam in 2015 and the 2016 is as high as rupees 1.6 billion. So the challenge before the governor has been to bring back the credibility to Central Bank of Sri Lanka by instigating a proper inquiry into the practices of the public debt department and taking preventive action to avoid that kind of a situation.
The report by the Auditor General paints a dangerous picture. It cannot be simply swept under the carpet. If public funds were misappropriated, then investigations should be held into it. These investigations should reveal to the people of this country whether the individuals involved are thieves or have served the country well. The Auditor General has said that in the future, further losses could accumulate on top of the losses already incurred, like the VAT tax. According to the accumulated amount, our interest rates may increase. So this continuous national losses is a crime involving public property. This crime must be investigated.
Meanwhile, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya noted that he had received the comprehensive report of the Auditor General's investigation into the bond issuance.
The COP Committee Chairman furnished a summarized report, but I have received an extensive 1,200-page report which includes much secret information. I hope to hold discussions with the COP Chairman regarding this information tomorrow. What we need is transparency, and we are not looking to protect or harm any individual. What we want is to enable transparency. I will meet with the COP Committee Chairman and the Auditor General. I will meet with the Attorney General, and finally, I will meet with the new heads of the Central Bank. Afterwards, I will make a decision. The Auditor General has made certain observations on Arjuna Mahendran's conduct. Minister Kirialla has said that the blame placed by the Auditor General is the Auditor General's opinion. The Auditor General is the auditor of the state. If this is the case, then experts should be called on to act in the same discipline, and if they reach the same conclusion, then it cannot be wrong. So Minister Kirialla needs to realize that he must accept the blame that has been placed in line with the discipline of auditing. We cannot understand it, so it cannot be resolved in a simple manner. Some are asking us to swiftly resolve this. We cannot resolve it swiftly, but I must mention that if anyone has misused state funds, then that money must be returned to the people. I say this with responsibility. Even if we are unable to stop fraud and corruption, not only in the central bank, but in all state institutions, we in the JVP will take the responsibility of uncovering all of the fraud and corruption.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce has welcomed the appointment of Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Extending its best wishes as he commences a 6-year term as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Chamber of Commerce issued a communique emphasizing that Dr. Kumaraswamy, a much-respected economist with a stellar track record both in Sri Lanka and overseas, is eminently qualified for this position. The Chamber of Commerce also noted that Dr. Kumaraswamy's integrity, international experience and formidable intellect are invaluable at a time when Sri Lanka seeks to expand its global footprint and is exposed to international capital markets more than ever before. The Chamber further notes that his appointment will help restore public confidence in Sri Lanka's monetary authority, and the Ceylon Chamber looks forward to extending its fullest support to the new governor during his 6-year term. 1.5 months have passed since the landslide on the Samasura mountain in Arunachal. However, authorities are yet to provide a roof above the heads of those who were displaced by the landslide and who are now on the verge of living on the streets.
A group of residents who lost their homes due to the landslide on the Samasara mountain have been sheltered at the Rivisanda Madhya Vidyalaya. The decision taken by the District Development Committee to set up temporary camps to shelter the displaced at the school premises have drawn the opposition of the school students and parents. Today they launched a demonstration as a mark of protest by obstructing the Aranayaka-Mavanalla main road. While the parents protested on the road, the students joined the protest from the school premises. Secretary to the Ministry of Education and the Commissioner of Examinations had instructed for temporary camps not to be set up at the school premises since a coordinating centre for the GCE Advanced Level Examination, 4 examination centres and a centre for the Grade 5 Scholarship Examination have been set up at the school. Despite this notification, the District Secretary has permitted for temporary shelters to be erected at the school premises, charged the protesters. The OIC of the Aranayaka Police arrived at the scene of the demonstration and held discussions with the protesters.
I will inform the District Secretary that such a request has been made by the general public and to consider this request.
The protesters dispersed after the OIC announced that the project to set up temporary camps at the Rivisanda Madhya Vidyalaya had been temporarily halted.
Although we informed the District Secretary, there was no response from him. He made irrelevant statements. It was the OIC of the Aranayaka Police who came to the scene of the protest and provided solutions.
The Kekol District Secretary Abe Vikrama Manasuriya stated that a final decision regarding the project will be reached at the District Development Committee on Friday. Meanwhile, the Dikpitiya Muslim College, which is also housing several persons displaced by the Samasara mountain landslide, will reopen for academic activities next Wednesday.
It will be 2 months for the 5th of July, but we have not been told anything. We don't know what will happen. We first stayed at the temple and later we were brought to this school. We will have no place to go once the school reopens.
Once in a while they would come here and look into our well-being, but nobody has been permanently attached to solve this issue.
The District Secretary noted that the displaced persons will be housed at the Naranga Mana Vidyalaya and the Palle Pamunuwa Vidyalaya, which have been closed permanently. 1,411 persons belonging to 523 families who were relocated due to the Samasara mountain landslide and the Aranayaka landslides are currently residing in 11 temporary camps.
One of the headline-making stories, the Government Medical Officers Association staged a 4-hour-long token strike today, citing several demands, including the closure of the private medical college in Malabar.
The Government Medical Officers Association said that the Government Dental Surgeons Association as well as the Government Ayurveda Medical Officers Association took part in the token strike. They say that they strongly oppose the move to register the private medical college in Malabar under the Sri Lanka Medical Council. Patients who had arrived at the Colombo National Hospital since early this morning were forced to stay in long queues for hours due to the token strike.
They want us to come back on another day.
I live far away in Matugama. I came here at 6 and joined the queue and I'm still here. The outpatients department of the National Eye Hospital was dysfunctional, causing severe discomfort among the many patients who had arrived to the hospital for treatment from areas such as Anuradhapura and Ampara. These are innocent people. Why do they do this? Every government takes care of them. However, they demand their rights using our lives as bargaining chips.
I have come here from Padaviya. We got into the bus at 8 last night.
What is the point of us coming here at 5 and staying in the queue? Some patients arrive for treatment after spending large sums of money for taxis. It wouldn't have mattered if we had money, but we spent 2,000 rupees to get here only to be turned back. This is a crime. The token strike was in effect in hospitals such as Chilao as well as in divisional hospitals outside Colombo.
The due date is close and this is the final date for the scan. If we had money, we wouldn't come here.
We will have to wait until the people die. I don't understand this. I don't know what to do. This mother, who had arrived to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital early this morning from Kakirawa for a kidney-related problem, was turned back and asked to return next month. What are we to do with this patient? We come here because we have no money. This is an injustice caused to the patients. Doctors have to save our lives, but they are killing us. If something happens, will they take responsibility? The token strike was also in effect in hospitals in the northern province, including Kilinochchi as well as in the eastern province. Despite the token strike being in effect, certain divisional hospitals were functional uninterrupted. The Hinguragoda district hospital was one such hospital.
Even when the medical council told them not to go, they had gone there, graduated and then filed a case in court saying that the place where they were learning has made a mistake, but my degree has to be accepted by the government. They say my degree must be accepted and that they should be made doctors. They are trying to make their dreams a reality on top of the corpses of patients. Our actions today will be evaluated tomorrow. An emergency meeting of the Central Committee has been convened. We are prepared to make decisions based on any changes that may occur tomorrow.
Meanwhile, medical faculty students from the Peradeniya and Rooney University staged a protest against the private medical college in Malabe.
There are claims that the institute is a shop. I will not talk about it. Everyone can see how many shops there are owned by doctors between here and the hospital. There is a case that is to be debated at the Supreme Court tomorrow. They are frightened that the verdict will go in favor of the children. They staged a strike in fear of the decision. I would like to request them to refrain from playing games with the lives of these students. I wasn't informed about the token strike undertaken by the Government Medical Officers Association today. This is a problem which is before court. This is not a problem for us, and I have not taken a decision on the issue up to date. I have not issued any order to the Medical Council. I have the power to give them orders, but I have not done that.
President Maithripala Sirisena participated in a number of events which were held in Mathura today. The National Sports Complex in the Mathura district was declared open by President Maithripala Sirisena this afternoon. The fully fledged complex is designed to host international level sports events. The President also attended the opening ceremony of an excise office in the Mathura district. The head of state later engaged in an inspection tour of the prison cells. Meanwhile, the Mathura District Development Coordination Committee meeting was held at the Valigama Town Hall under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena this morning. Special attention was drawn towards problems at the Mathura General Hospital.
The hospital director stated correctly at the District Coordinating Committee meeting that there are close to 150 employees who only report to work on payday. They sign and collect their wages. If this is the case, it is a bad situation. We launched an extensive investigation after inspecting the Mathura hospital subsequent to information received from MP Buddhika Pathirana with regard to this. We have taken stringent disciplinary measures against those who have poor attendance. The situation has changed now.
If ministers and MPs do not interfere in disciplinary inquiries, the work will be done swiftly. The disciplinary action will have only come to a halt if someone had appeared on behalf of them. Therefore, ensure that the work is done properly.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Minister Basit Rajapaksa took part in a number of events recently.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa participated in an opening ceremony at the Mahavalathanna Sri Chandrasekhara Mudalindaramaya in Balangoda today.
We would make a request to take measures to remove the value-added taxes immediately. This is a big problem. The VAT is the same as the taxes imposed on the poor. Even the capital gains tax may not look like something big, but it will eventually become a problem. Therefore, an era has come about where taxes are even slapped on people with thatched houses.
තමුන්නාන්සේලා හැම දිනෙකටම බලපාන ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා. ඒකින්ද පැල් පතට හිලන් දඩ ගහන බදු ගෙවන්න වෙලා තියෙන යුගයක් අද බිහි වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Former parliamentarian Basil Rajapaksa addressed the people of Haliella last afternoon.
එතානින්ද බලන්න පුළුවන්.
Wait and see tomorrow of the day after whether or not 8 people will be crossing over from our side. What if there are 8 people who want to join us? We could take not 8 people but 18 from both parties if we want to. But now the problem is they're asking us not to take such massive numbers. So that remains the problem.
Convening a media briefing in Kurunagala this morning, Sri Lanka Freedom Party activists made a request from former Minister Basil Rajapaksa.
Do we want to form a Sri Lanka Freedom Party government, or do we want to just hand over power to the United National Party once again? This is what we must understand. So we beg and plead from Basil Rajapaksa, please do not destroy the Sri Lanka Freedom Party like you did to our leader Mahinda Rajapaksa, who we made victorious in 2005. So to you who ran off to America even before the election results were out, we say, please go back to America without putting us in trouble. We have now realized that many persons are taking certain decisions by thinking about just 1 or 2 people instead of the entire party. We remember how Dinesh Gunawardena, Viduru Vikramarayaka, Vimal Veeravansa and Udaya Gammampilla used to tell various stories back then that Basil Rajapaksa was involved in this. Many opposed it. They said, no, we will not take Basil Rajapaksa, because if we do, we will lose. It was Basil who brought defeat to Mahinda Rajapaksa. So we will not take such a person back to our party who brought an individual like Mahinda Rajapaksa to such a state. Recently, he created a huge issue and stood aside, but they did not exact vengeance from him. They exacted vengeance from our party and our innocent Pradesh Sabha members.
The Supreme Court has instructed the respondents in the Umayya case to supply drinking water to residents of the 12 villages which were deprived of drinking water as a result of the Umayya project by the end of the year.
The ruling was made when a fundamental rights petition filed by 4 farmers from Bandaravilla was taken up today before a 2-member bench comprising of Chief Justice K.Sri Pawan and Justice Eva Vanasundara. Court also informed the farmers to seek compensation via the Mahavali Authority for farmland that was destroyed as a result of the project. The Mahavali Development Authority, the Central Environmental Authority, the Secretary of the Environmental Ministry and the Secretary of the Agriculture Ministry were among the respondents cited in this petition. The petition will be taken up again on the 14th of September.
A group of fishermen obstructed the coastal railway line in Dehiwala today, demanding that the Dehiwala Fisheries Harbour be renovated.
A group of fishermen from Dehiwala, Ratmalana, Panadura, Angulana and surrounding coastal areas engaged in a protest demanding that their fisheries hub be reconstructed. Train travel along the coastal line was disrupted as a result.
3 years ago, 6 fishermen lost their lives. This happens every year. We only have a 15 to 20 foot long breakwater to travel to and fro. All we ask is for a proper breakwater. We are not calling on the government to provide us with food or jobs.
The police and the Ratmalana Divisional Secretary held discussions with the fishermen.
The Minister of Fisheries has given us an appointment on Friday for discussions on this. I would like to make an announcement that this request will be met through my intervention.
Meanwhile, area residents of Potupitiya staged a protest obstructing the Galle-Colombo road today. The demonstration was staged to protest against the failure of the police to take adequate measures against a group of individuals who had launched an alleged attack on a youth. Flow of traffic along the Galle-Colombo main road was disrupted as a result. The protesters dispersed upon a pledge made by the OIC of the Wadua police to arrest the suspects in question.
Another phase of gifting concessionary housing loans to families in the northern province took place under the auspices of Minister Sajith Premadasa in Mana today.
300 families in the Mana district were provided with concessionary housing loans at an event held at the Mana Town Hall. Following the war victory, the people of the country expected that the country would be rebuilt and peace would spread through reconciliation, fraternity, unity and fellowship among all communities. However, the previous government did not function with the intention of promoting reconciliation. Instead, they created conflict among the entire society by inciting interreligious and communal clashes. Their intention was to rule for a lifetime, but the people of this country became wiser. The people spoke and they made President Maithripala Sirisena victorious to bring about reconciliation. They made Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe victorious. I say this with much happiness.
Son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Yoshitha Rajapaksa appeared before the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division today. Yoshitha Rajapaksa appeared before the FCID today to make a statement on the issues surrounding CSN.
The FCID recorded statements from Yoshitha Rajapaksa for over 5 hours. Yoshitha was summoned before the police FCID for the 14th time today in connection to the allegations of financial fraud surrounding CSN.
I was summoned to record statements on CSN. However, I was questioned about my personal accounts. They did before as well. I answered the questions posed to me.
The latest publication of the Department of National Archives of Sri Lanka, entitled The Travel Diary of Isa Augustin Rumpf, the Dutch governor of Ceylon, was launched at the department's auditorium this afternoon.
The original diary, which is in the Dutch language, has been translated into English by Professor K.D. Parnevithana. Minister of Education Akilviraj Karyavasam was the chief guest of the event, while the Netherlands ambassador to Sri Lanka, Joanne Dorward, was invited as the guest of honour.
On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, I take this opportunity to thank the government of the Netherlands for the contribution of financial provisions under the Mutual Cultural Heritage Programme for this publication. Her Excellency Joanne Dorward, the ambassador of the Netherlands in Sri Lanka, her predecessors together with the staff in the embassy deserve my thanks for their support in their endeavours. I thank Professor Gommans for coming all the way from the Netherlands for reviewing the publication, which is an honour to the Department of National Archives.
With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Bernadine Jai Singha.
And I'm Joel Outskun. Thank you very much for stopping by. But before wrapping up, here's a reminder that you can keep abreast of the latest and trending stories on our award-winning website simply by typing www.newsfirst.lk. Take care. Good night.